Hi there. In a world where nothing is certain, that means anything is possible, right? If you want to fulfill your dreams and desires, you are in the right place. You absolutely can have a life of happiness. Everyone deserves an abundance of love, laughter, success, health, and wealth. I'm Tara Chadzakis, and you're listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. The show that brings you meditation, mindset, and motivation. So start by giving yourself permission to be awesome. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to this episode of Happy, Inspired, Motivated. Today I am joined by Melisa Caprio, and she is a photographer. She's also a radio host, and I was actually a guest on her radio show, which was really amazing. That was through the OMTimes radio. And she's the author of Postcards to the Universe. Now, Postcards to the Universe is about a bit like a vision board, but it's more, well, it is a postcard, and you send them to her, and she posts them on her website. She does them on social media, and she's helping people with their manifesting. Now, the reason she uses photography is because she thinks it's more personal. And it's not just photography, it's art as well. It can be you could draw these postcards. It could be pictures that you cut out, or it could be pictures that you take. And you write your desires on them, and you send them out into the universe via a postcard. So her inspiration for all of this comes from a desire really to have kind of a place where people come together in a creative way that's going to enable some sort of global change. She gives workshops on photography, art, transformation, and manifestation. And when she works with her clients, she helps to guide them on how to create their unique postcard for added effects, to create more of an intentional manifestation. So as I said, she's got a weekly radio show called Postcards to the Universe as well. And that is OMTimes Radio. And she interviews spiritual trailblazers, she calls them. And I'm very proud to say that I was on there and it was released a couple of weeks ago. So you can catch that on replay as well through OMTimes Radio. And she lives in Florida. So we had a bit of a misunderstanding. She said South Florida, and I thought South Florida was the Keys. But apparently the Keys are separate, and South Florida is above the Keys. So I was a bit confused when she said that. But anyway, Melisa was a great guest to have on. She was lots of fun. She's got an absolutely amazing, contagious laugh. And I can't wait for you to hear the show. So let me introduce you to Melisa right now. Hi, Melisa, and welcome to Happy, Inspired, Motivated. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I love being a guest. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so honored to have you. I'm really excited to learn more about what you do and your journey that sort of brought you to this point. So tell me about your background. I know you've done many different things, but tell me what your roles have been in the past that have brought you to where you are now.
Sure. So I am an artist. I'm a photographer. That's my background.
Yeah.
I have a fine art degree. And for a lot of years, I did documentary type photography. I owned a photo gallery for a while. And we had, this is old school. We had dark rooms that we would rent out when people used to develop film and they could print and all that. Mm-hmm. So that's my background. And I got a job working with developmentally disabled kids, photographing them doing therapy with dolphins. And that was a wonderful experience. I was a staff photographer for 7 years. Yeah. So that's a little bit of my background, and how I got to the law of attraction and what we're talking about today. Yay. Is after the job, like everything kind of ended at once. I tell this story a lot. I was married and the marriage ended, the job ended, and I had to move all at the same time. So as you can imagine, the stress level. Yeah, it was really, really stressed. And I was very sad and hurt and depressed and thinking, I don't get what happened, especially, the job too. I mean, I just loved the job, right? Yeah. So I'm like, what is going on? Why did this happen? That's what we do. We ask ourselves the questions like, why is this happening to me? And that's kind of when I really discovered the law of attraction. Like I had already heard of Louise Hay. I have already heard of Wayne Dyer. I was already familiar, but I didn't really know their work that well. And that's when I started reading these kind of books, and I started hearing about this manifestation and the law of attraction and how we create our own reality. And I'm thinking, why not? Right? But then you start to see, when you understand how it works, how you have helped co-create the things that have shown up in your life. Because if we're going to take credit for the good, we have to take credit, for some of the terrible things that kind of show up too. But this is not to blame, because we're all doing the best that we can. No blame, no judgment. Right.
No, and that's one thing I loved. I love the co-create. It's not it's not written already. We don't have to follow a certain path. We get to choose, and when we choose, that's when the universe helps us and we create together, and it's so powerful.
Exactly. It's so powerful. So why not co-create all the stuff we want?
Exactly. Why create the rubbish that we don't like? Why do we keep focusing on that stuff? Oh my gosh.
Right. Yep.
So you moved, is that when you moved to Florida, or did you move somewhere else?
No, I was always in Florida. I moved, I grew up in Florida, and the dolphin place was in the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
And I moved back after the job back to South Florida. I left the Keys and moved back to South Florida because that's where I grew up and my family and friends were all at.
Is the Keys not South Florida?
No, it isn't. It's the Keys. So it's south of Miami, and you have to go across all these bridges. They're little islands that are attached by bridges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you moved
those
back
in
home.
the US. Those in the US, we are probably more familiar. All right.
Yeah, well, I thought Florida Keys was the most south you could go, Florida, but
it is, but we don't consider it South Florida. Like Miami, South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, Palm Beach, we consider the Keys. It's like their own little islands. That's why. So we call them the Keys.
Oh, right. Now I'm with you. Okay.
Yes, but they are considered part of Florida.
I thought my geography had gone really bad. I was like, I just embarrassed myself terribly on there.
No, it's okay. I would be the same way asking you about where you were at. I would have no idea.
Yeah, well, I'm on an island too, but I haven't got a bridge. So, yeah. Okay, so you moved back, and did you? So you were still doing photography at that point, I'm presuming.
Yeah. So I went back to my commercial photography. Which is fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with commercial photography, but that's not where my heart was. My heart wasn't in it. It was just a way to make a living. And I was always really, I always liked fine art photography, and I was always fascinated with certain kinds of work. And one of the things that I always found myself photographing, kind of unconsciously without even realizing it, is letters. I used to love to photograph people's letters and cards and handwriting because I found it so beautiful and it's so personal, people's handwriting, I think, So while I was studying, all these synchronicities, well, I don't believe in synchronicities. I think I was attracting these things. I can look back and see, as I started studying the law of attraction, I just happened to meet somebody who taught a course in it. So I took an 8-week course, so I really understood how it worked. Cool. I met somebody else who was a web designer because I started getting these ideas of, well, what do you want to do with this now? How can you incorporate it? And one night, and I know this was divinely given, I really believe it. I was falling asleep, and it was about 1:00 in the morning. And when you're not really quite asleep, but you're almost there, you're sort of like half dreaming, but you're half awake. I heard Postcards to the Universe. Like I heard it in my head.
Wow.
And I got up because it felt really important. Like I got like a ding, like this is important. And I got up and I went on GoDaddy and I bought the domain name, and I didn't do anything with it for a year. I knew it was important, but I didn't do anything with it for a year. And then from that, what started developing is, well, how can I use my art, my photography, my creativity, and really grasp this manifestation and law of attraction and postcards to the universe? And that's how it was born. So I have people create manifesting postcards, and I photograph them. And when their story becomes their reality, they share their story with me. In my book, I have 30 stories in my book like that.
Wow.
30 postcards and 30 stories. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I wanted to create a manifestation postcard. What are my steps? What do I do?
Oh yeah, super easy. So on my website, if for anybody who's like thinking, well, I'm not an artist, you don't have to be an artist. It's really, really
No,
easy.
I'm definitely not an artist.
We're all creative in just different ways, right? We're all creative.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a vision board. I'm sure probably a lot of your
Yeah.
listeners are familiar with vision boards. So instead of like a large vision board, I have people create a smaller postcard sized manifesting so whatever they want to manifest in whatever area, like maybe if it's a relationship, you would create a postcard around manifesting the kind of relationship you want.
Hmm.
And I just tell people the best way to do that is to find images that resonate with you of what it is that you like, so
Yeah.
if it's you want to get engaged and have this beautiful honeymoon, look for photos of people on their honeymoon holding hands and put that on your card and write what you want in an affirmative, like I am happily on my honeymoon with the love of my life. That's what you want to manifest. And you put all of that energy into that postcard about what you envision in your mind's eye for what you want to come into your life.
Hmm.
And then you have to send it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, you send it to me. I tell everyone, take a picture, put it on your refrigerator, print it out, keep it on your phone, your screensaver, so you could see it, so it's always kind of in your subconscious.
Yeah.
And then when your postcard comes true, you contact me, and we can tell a story if you feel comfortable. And on the website, it tells people like how to set the space, set the intention to create your postcard. You want to really get into that energy, shut your phone off, don't let anybody bother you, take all the dings from your emails and all this stuff that totally distract you, and
Yeah.
set the intention that I am in my creative space right now. I am manifesting abundance right now. This is my time. This is for me. You set that space. You print out things from, you can go Google, you can go images, print stuff out. Pinterest is great for finding
Yeah.
images.
Yeah.
And you just do it that way. Or you could go old school. You could do magazines. I have tons of magazines. I like to go old school. I go through magazines and flip through and cut out images. I have some artists get really into it. I had one artist paint her manifestations on wood pieces, little wood boards, and she sent those to me. Yeah,
Wow.
so yeah, and I have some other artist friends that just go all out, who really put they're creating like almost like little mini paintings almost. They're incredible, some of the ones that I
Beautiful.
get. Hmm.
So do people create like lots of images on one postcard, or do they have lots of different postcards? Are
Well,
they all related?
usually I tell people take one area per postcard, like
Okay.
focus on. So yeah, so like there's a couple of people I know that send postcards all the time for different things, for trips they want to take. For my one friend sent me, we became friends. She sends them all the time. Every time she wants to travel to Europe, she creates a postcard of where she wants to go, and she ends up going. And her new house that she wanted, she's in her new house. Like she just creates these
Yeah.
beautiful cards for everything. Yeah, and then sends them to me. And what I do is, for those of you who are listening and want to see what these postcards look like, every Monday, I call them Magic Monday messages, I post on my website, in my social media, a
Hmm.
postcard, a manifesting postcard with its affirmation. So you can kind of get an idea. Now, I put
Yeah.
my creativity into it. So I set it all up. So you'll see the card, and then you'll see everything else around it that I set up. And that's how I like to photograph it. So I feel like I'm helping co create with the people who send me their postcard for their manifestation.
That's really
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's fun. I love it. I love it. That's when I get the most fun. When I'm photographing the cards, that's where I really love it.
So you're creating, as it says on your website, a global movement for
Yes.
manifestation. I mean, a
Mhm.
manifestation is one of my favorite words.
Me too. Me too. Manifestation, yeah, and magic. Magic is my favorite word, and that's why I was
Yes.
the Magic Monday messages. So like let's just send out a beautiful little magical message on Mondays.
Yeah, it has to be a global movement because everybody needs to be aware of it
Hmm.
because otherwise they're just stuck in the same old and they don't
Hmm.
realize that it can be easy to do something better.
Yes. And the thing is, a lot of people, what happens is a lot of the same things keep happening to us over and over again, the same situations. And we don't understand why. Why does this
Mm.
keep happening? Oh, I'm a good person. Why does this happen to me? I
Mm.
don't deserve this. And you might not realize how much where you're vibrating, your energy you're vibrating is what you're attracting to. The universe is neutral. It doesn't see what's good or bad. It's neutral. So if you're vibrating low and you talk down to yourself and you feel like you don't deserve good things and that's how you really feel deep down, well, that's the universe is just showing you that. Oh, okay, you don't think you're good enough? Well, maybe that's why you can't get out of this job you hate or this relationship that's not serving you or these, dynamics with other people that are treating you like crap where you feel awful inside because that's how you treat yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I like to think of it as like a bit like a mirror. So what you're reflecting into the mirror, which is like your sadness, your unhappiness, your unworthiness, and the mirror's just bringing it straight back to you. Well, here's some more. You can have more of that. Why not? You obviously like it because you're showing it to everybody, and you're talking about it to everybody. Oh my God, my life's awful.
Exactly. And you be really conscious of if you complain a lot. I got really aware of not being a complainer. Because what you're talking about your problems over and over and over and over again. So the universe is like, oh, okay, problems. Okay, more challenges. I got it. I got it.
If you're focusing on it, you obviously really like it because, you're thinking about it a lot.
Right. Exactly. So it's just like anything else. It's you have to exercise that new muscle. You're working out your spiritual muscle. You have to just exercise it. And the more you do it, the easier it is. The more you catch yourself falling into old patterns and you're like, oh, stop, cancel, delete. That's what I say. Cancel, delete.
And I love that you said the universe doesn't, it doesn't have, it's not biased. It doesn't care if you're a good person or you're a bad person. That doesn't even come into the equation because it can't even pick up on that vibration. It just picks up on the vibration that you're feeling. And well, that's why when you see some terrible, horrible people and you look at their life and you see how charmed their life are and you're thinking, geez, they're a terrible person. Why do they have all these wonderful things? It's because to them, they're manifesting wonderful things because they think they're wonderful. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's their mirror. It's their mirror. So
exactly. So is it, how do you want to expand the postcards to the universe? What's your vision for this?
Well, my vision is, this is what I know for sure. As when you look at the world and you look at, our little places in the world, it's overwhelming, right? Like we can't go out and change the world. We can't do that. But what we can do is if we change ourselves and we start to see how worthy we are and what we deserve, that is our way of changing the world. So the more people that change themselves, they affect everybody around them, right? They affect their little world. And it just spreads out like, the ripple effect can go everywhere. So I feel like it's kind of a one-person job. Like you have to work on yourself first, and then everything outside of that is going to shift. The people who don't resonate with you, who are lower vibrating than you, or who are real negative, are going to just kind of fade away. They're going to disappear from your life. The people that are vibrating higher than you are going to come into your life. And then who knows what you guys can co-create together to bring something better to the world. It's like, that's the only way that I think that we can do it. So that is my big vision for all of us. Because I know there's enough. I'm not one of those people that says, oh, I have to have this and you can't have it because there's not enough for both of us. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. There's enough for everybody.
Of course there is. If everyone made millions,
there's plenty.
There's still a shit ton of money left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And happiness and joy and everything.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need to get out of competition and get into co-creation to sustain us moving forward, to evolve. Yeah.
And I think, one of the things that when I first started looking at the law of attraction, I was not a big TV guy anyway, but still the news was a complete no, because it's just like,
it's terrible.
Exactly. It's like you hear the top 5 stories. There's only probably like 6 or 7 anyway. The top 5 stories are all fear and hatred and death and gloom. And you think, okay, so that's our world. But what about all the other 1 point however many billions of people in the world that have had a great day?
Exactly.
And you give me 5 stories and they're all crap.
They're all terrible. And it makes us feel terrible. And it's like, and they repeat it. And I stopped watching the news years ago. I never watched the news. If there's an important story that I need to know, world news, it will find me. Yeah. Somebody will tell me, I'll see it somewhere, it will find me. I don't need to be watching the news to see it.
Melissa, did you know there's something called COVID?
Exactly.
It's finished already. Don't worry about it. It's gone.
Right. Exactly.
People honestly think I don't know what's going on in the world because of that, because I don't watch the news, but I do know what's going on. Like you said, the story comes to you, you find out, if it's important, but I don't need to be bombarded by things that are going to make me scared.
No, exactly. And I tell, if I have anybody in friends or family that send me stories, oh, have you seen it? I tell them, stop. No, I don't want to see it. Don't send me. I don't need to know. I don't need to read this. I don't need to go there. I already know.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And that's like you say about, you've got to work on yourself first. So if you're bringing yourself down with that kind of story, you're not going to create, you're not going to lift the world to a better vibration.
Right. And it doesn't mean that even if you are working with abundance and affirmations and manifesting, that doesn't mean that horrible things don't happen. That doesn't mean that you're immune to tragedies in your life. That doesn't mean that you're protected somehow, or you're like, that, so we're still going to have those experiences. I mean, we're here, we're in Earth School. We're here for a reason. It's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies and unicorns all the time. But that doesn't mean that the way we handle things can't be, we don't have control over how we handle things that do show up in our life.
Yeah, exactly. It's our reaction to situations which makes the situation worse or better, and helps other people around us as well. So
absolutely. Yeah. Pain is inevitable, but we can choose how much we want to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you're what's pain to one person could be the thrill to somebody else that fuels them to do something.
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah. And that's usually what happens. Pain forces us to make moves. I mean, I was in pain. I was in pain. That's why I discovered all this. It totally changed my whole life. Yeah. I wouldn't have been in that. None of this would have happened if none of that would have happened.
Exactly. And the same. If I hadn't been in my situation that was painful, then I probably wouldn't have got here either.
Right.
So exactly. It's the universe's way of a wake-up call sometimes, and it might not be nice when you're going through it, but afterwards you look back and you think it was the best thing that happened to me, because otherwise I would have stayed there.
Right. Exactly. So that is what happens.
So you actually also have the OMTimes radio. What's that? Tell us about that.
OMTimes is a international magazine and radio, and I have a radio show, and it's called Postcards to the Universe with Melisa, creating the life you crave. And I feature guests like you're going to be on my show.
I am, yes.
I know, I'm so excited. And we talk about kind of what we're talking about today, like people who are doing things outside of the box, are big thinkers, who are living their life abundantly, who are creative. I have healers on. I have a regular on. He's on probably once every 6 weeks. He channels great spirits and archangels. Yeah. So I just love to have people that are really doing some wonderful things in the world to have on my guests. And OMTimes, all the shows are like that. My show runs Wednesdays at 4 p.m. That's Eastern time. And it's live. So it's a live radio show. It goes for about an hour. But after the show, if you miss it live, it's always up in the replay. You can listen to it in the archives, and you can go back and listen to all the shows.
So where do they find it on radio again? Sorry, is that through your website, or is that a specific separate website?
Well, it's its own OMTimes magazine and OMTimes radio. So it's OMTimes radio. They can find it that way. But if they want, they can find everything on my website. It'll take you a link to the radio. I put on, after the show goes up, I take the show and make it a podcast, and it's on my website. So they can listen to it there also.
Perfect.
And it's on all the podcasting platforms. When you do a podcast, they they upload them to all the platforms. It's on iTunes and Google Play and Spotify. It's just they're on everywhere. I even found out that I was on Audible. I didn't know that I was on Audible podcast. I was like, no way. Yeah.
Yeah, I got something through the other day about how to promote myself on Amazon.
Oh, I got that too.
Yeah, and I was like, what? I was like, I didn't even know I was on there. The same thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's so wonderful. And that's the wonderful things about the internet. How like we could connect. Like we would never have met probably without, having the internet, and how we can connect globally. Those are the good things about it.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy, but it's like you say, the right people come to you when you're ready to connect with each other, and that's perfect. I mean, like you said about the guy that's channeling. I do listen to Esther Hicks quite a lot, who channels Abraham.
You would like Gregory then if you go. His name's Gregory Passman. Yeah, you'll check him out. He was on my show last week, and he's going to be on again in December. I love Gregory. I love his channel messages.
It's just such a gift to be able to do that. I'm a little bit envious, actually. I mean, why can I not do that? Why was I not gifted to that?
He's incredible too, because when he's talking as the channeled entity, like, when you talk, you'll go, you do. There's none of that. Like it's all coming through, and just everything that you ask, there's an answer. It's just beautiful.
Wow.
I know.
It's
a gift.
It is a gift. I mean, I'm sure probably everybody could tap into, or we do kind of tap into it, don't we? Because we do get downloads from the universe, which, sometimes it's because we ask, what do I need to do, universe? What do I need to know? Who do I need to speak to?
Sure.
And it comes that way. But, to be able to just sit in that space and just be asked a question and then have an immediate, you're going to get an immediate download. It's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. It is. And that's how Postcards, I think that was a message. I got a downloaded message. I was in that space where I was calm and my brain was quiet and I wasn't thinking and I was just about to drift off to sleep. So the universe knew that, whomever, my higher self, our guardian angels, spirit guides, it doesn't matter. God, I'm fine with all of it, knew I could hear it at that moment.
It knew that if it spoke then you'd be more receptive and open to it. Yeah.
Because I've been asking, what am I going to do with this now? What am I going to do now? What am I going to do? Like over and over again, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't working for me. This old, you can't go back to your old life, when things happen. And so I kept saying, what is next for me? So, and I was given an answer.
Perfect. Yeah. And I like what you're saying about when you're making the postcards and you've got to be in that, that quiet space and not have distractions and stuff. And then you are getting downloads at the same time because you're allowing yourself to be open to ideas and thoughts that come in. And sometimes I can imagine, there's probably people who think, okay, I'm going to make a postcard about this. And then when they get in that quiet space, something else comes up.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. A different image or different words come out and they're like, whoa, where did that come from?
Well, yeah. And what's so funny is we become, so before the pandemic, and I'm sure I'll go back to it. I haven't done one since the pandemic, but I would do in-person workshops and I would gather a lot of people together and we would create postcards together because I have tons of arts and crafts and everybody comes in and they're super serious. We're all adults and, we're like, oh, I don't know. And I'm not creative. And then something happens, like all of a sudden, like, okay, we got all our tools, we go through our writing exercises. I do writing exercises to help us get clear on what it is. Because a lot of times we say we want something, but we really don't have any idea what we want. Oh, I want to be happy. Well, what'll make you happy? Well, I'm not sure. Well, you need to kind of know what's going to make you happy. That's what we go.
A bit of a broad spectrum, isn't it, really?
We all want to be happy, but what is it? Is it a new job? Is it a new relationship? Is it a new town? Like find out. So we do, once that happens, okay, we do the clearing exercises. And then when they start to get into it, when everybody's grabbing the magazines and the arts and crafts, the little kid comes out in us, and that's the creative energy that we want to tap into, because what you just did is you just raised your vibration. And that's what the universe is reading. You're raising your vibration. You're dreaming your life forward. You see, you're seeing it and that's why kids are so fantastic. They're master manifestors. because
Yes.
they don't know all the problems it takes. They don't ask a million questions like when, why, how is it going to show up? I can't do that. Like, they don't have that.
Mm.
We have that.
Yeah, we have. It's imposed on
Mm.
ourselves. We create the little boxes. It has to go
Right.
in this box first, and then
Right.
when it's in that box and I've got the answers for that, then it goes into the next box.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
do that to ourselves, don't we? It's
Yeah,
just
we do. So when they get into it, then they love it. Then they're like, but it's so great. I have to give it to you. I have to leave it with you. Yes. So take a picture so you have it. Yeah. And they love it. People really love it. And then people,
yeah.
then I'll get like an email or somebody will say, oh my God, you're never going to believe what happened. I love that when I get the you're never going to believe what happened, because then I know what happened, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually I do. I've got your postcard.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it. I mean, I've had some wild stories. I mean, there one woman who sends me postcards all the time. She wanted to do, and I've talked about her a lot because it's just so fascinating to me. She does flamenco dancing. She loves it. That's like as a her extracurricular activity. And so she sent a postcard about how she wanted to go to Spain to go to this place and do flamenco dancing. And on her postcard, she sent a side little attachment, and it was this couple, and they were dressed in the outfits, and the name of this town, this little town or whatever, where it was done. Well, 2 years later, it just so happened she was part of her troupe that they were, and she's in the Midwest. She was doing dancing on her troupe. They were going over to Spain to go do a dancing thing. This was before the pandemic. And they ended up going to that exact town that she sent the postcard from. It's this little, and it's a little town. It's not like Madrid or Barcelona or a major city in Spain. Yeah. It's like a little town, and it looked exactly like the little postcard. And I was like, that's incredible. That's incredible. And she was there doing her dancing, and that's what she wanted to do. Yeah. And she sent the postcard, I think it was 2 years before that.
So do you encourage people to keep revisiting the postcards? Do they change it? Do they keep focusing on it? I mean, because 2 years is, she might have forgotten her postcard by then.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, that's the thing. She set out such a strong, that's part of it, because what we do is and I learned this from Louise Hay, and I love that she said this, is that we send out our desire, and then we tell the universe we need it by this date. It has to look like this. It has to show up this way, or I'm not going to accept it. What you need to do is you need to set it out, and you need to just let it go and just have faith that it's going to come to you. So she is the woman who created this one. She happens to send postcards a lot, so for different things. Like, she loves it. So she that was just something that she wanted to do, but she didn't focus on it. It's like when I said Louise Hay, is she said, and this is what made me think of this. She's like, it's like when you go to a restaurant and you order your dinner. You don't go into the kitchen after you place your order and tell the chef, oh, that's too much salt. Oh, that's too much pepper. When's it going to come out? Oh, it has to come out like this. You placed your order, and you have complete faith that it's going to be brought to you exactly the way you want it, even better. Right? When it's ready. She's like, and that's how you have to think of your sending out your desires. It's going to come to you probably better than you imagine when you're ready and it's ready. Yeah. Done. So yeah, I always think of that when I find myself going, why hasn't this shown up yet?
I do give a similar kind of thing about restaurants, like being, like you said about that lady's postcard was a flamenco dancing, and it was this town. You've got to have some specifics in there, because if you went to that restaurant and you said, I want some food, you can't complain whatever you get back if he brings you a fry, because that's not what you wanted. That's not enough. It's like, no, I wanted more than this. Well, you've got to be a bit more specific than just saying food in general. I want to be happy. It's got to be more.
Yeah. So if happiness to you is a new career, then you need to start thinking about what that looks like. If it's getting out of a relationship, it's interesting. I've noticed that a lot of people, it's leaving their old relationships because they're no longer serving them anymore. It's not just finding a relationship; it's leaving old relationships.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you want a certain relationship, and it's not the one you're in, you need to leave the one you're in if it's no longer working for you, or that relationship needs to be renegotiated so that what you do want can come into your life. Yeah. So you have to have specifics.
Yeah, of course you do.
But you gotta be a little open to the universe being better. So if, let's say, let's use relationships, because relationships are easy. So let's say you're looking for, and we're women, so I'll say a man. Like, I get a lot of women just, I want to, a boyfriend or a husband. He has to be 6'4" and blonde hair. All right, what if he's 5'11" with dark hair, but he has everything else? Are you going to throw him out? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to allow a little bit.
Exactly. There are some things that are non-negotiable,
right.
but things like that are specific.
Yeah, honesty, compassion, integrity. He has to have those things. If he doesn't, then I get it. But I mean, if he's not over 6 foot tall, really? I mean, is that like going to be, what if he's like the most wonderful thing in the world and he's perfect for you? So we have to kind of be a little bit open to allowing the universe to say, no, I got something better for you. Just trust me.
Just trust me. He's not 6 foot. He's sure than that. But you'll be so happy, honestly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is being specific, but not to the exact that you could cut it out and stick it on your wall. And if it's not like that, then you're not looking. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to live in a place that has by the ocean, right? I mean, does it have to be Florida? What if it's the Bahamas? I mean, it's the water that you want to be around. Like, it doesn't, that may be a better place for you. I'm just throwing that out there. People who have these ideas of it has to be a certain way. And I think that's what blocks a lot of the things we really want from coming to us.
Yeah.
Because it's not coming in the package we imagined.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the specifics of, like you say, by living by the water. And I think you have to have you can't be too broad.
Right.
You can't say, I want all this side of this country and anywhere will do, because you're not taking any action to start looking or looking around and stuff. And do you want an apartment? Do you want a house? It's got to be, you've got to understand what you want, because otherwise it could be, you find a tent and you're rocking up on a beach. You know what I mean? And that's not acceptable. Right. So it is quite a difficult line to get, isn't it? But yeah.
But and what happened when you start doing the postcards, that's what's so cool about them. And you're looking at images, you'll go, oh, that's it. That's what I want it to look like. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I want to live by the water, but I want to live by the water where it's warm, where there's palm trees, not where it's cold and there's Alaska, where there's snow on the ground. Like I want it to look like this. If you want to live somewhere where it's very mountainous, then you don't want to come by Florida, because we don't have any of that here. We're flat, so you have to and the images really help. I had somebody who did a postcard on wanting a certain kind of relationship in her life. And so the way she did it was she imagined having a partner that she could travel with, because that was something that she really wanted to do, not necessarily be married, but travel with. So she found all these pictures of couples in different locations. Traveling, doing safaris and doing, holding hands and all these things. And that was her postcard, because that's what she wants a person to be with, but she also wants somebody who's got that same adventurous traveling spirit as she does. So that's the postcard that she created. Perfect. And that's what came for her.
Yeah. Awesome. So Melisa, if my listeners wanted to get more information about what you do, although we have told them lots of stuff, but if they want to go further with you and start sending you postcards and all of this, how can they find you?
Oh, I would love it if people send me a postcard. And if you need help, you can email me at any time. Okay, so if you go to postcardstotheuniverse.com, it will take you everywhere. It takes you to the links of my social media so you can see, but also you can go to my email, you can email me. It tells you how to create a manifesting postcard. It also shows you there's an address on there where you can send it. Like I said, if you have any questions, there's in the email, you just email me, click on the email button icon and it'll email me right away and I will help walk you through it. It has links to my podcast, my radio show, and also I have, if anybody wants to join my newsletter, I have a free gift, and the gift is a PDF. It's a 30-day visual manifesting. I use photography to help us manifest. It's a gratitude. We use images and gratitude. It's a 30-day practice. It's lots of fun. And if you sign up for my newsletter, it'll come into your email automatically. It's PDF. It's
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, it's 30 days of gratitude. And because I find gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to manifest. And then my spin on it is we use photographs to help us do that. We take pictures of what we see out in the world that we want.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, gratitude is one of the highest vibrational energies that really helps supercharge manifestation.
Yeah.
Awesome. So thank you so much for being on my show, and thank you for the gift for my listeners as well. So if they go to podcaststotheuniverse.com and sign up for your
podcaststotheuniverse.com. Yep.
And then they can get your free gift. Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you, Tara. This was so great. It was so fun.
Thank you for being my guest. I have absolutely loved it. Thank you for listening to the Happy, Inspired, Motivated podcast. I'll be back next week bringing more meditation, mindset, and motivation for your happy and successful life. To find out more about our community, go to tarachatzakis.com/happy, inspired, motivated.